Don't get scared now.
It's official. We have crossed a massive milestone with over 1 million subscribers now tuning into Screen Rant to stay up to date on awesome movie trivia, Easter eggs, mistakes, and more. We couldn't have done it without the help of each and every one of you. So to show our gratitude, we turn to you, our subscribers, to fill us in on some of the coolest movie facts. And you guys didn't disappoint.
Great shot, kid! That was 1 in a million!
Here are 10 amazing movie facts brought to you by Screen Rant fans.
I have a very bad feeling about this.
Home Alone. Kevin McAllister and his older brother Buzz don't exactly get along, but the bully does get burned by one of the movie's most lasting jokes.
Buzz, your girlfriend. Woof.
Well, actually it's his girlfriend who takes the worst of it. Since the joke about Buzz's girlfriend hinges on the reveal that she's laughably ugly, the director couldn't bring himself to subject an innocent young actress to such a straightforward insult. Instead, he put a boy in a wig for the photo, meaning the joke could still work, but nobody's feelings were hurt in the process. Scream, the birth of Ghostface. Some horror icons are painstakingly created, and others are just complete luck. When Wes Craven decided to reinvent the modern slasher movie with Scream, the actual script never described what kind of mask the killer was wearing. It was only when scouting for locations that a producer stumbled on the now famous Ghostface mask. When Craven contacted the Fun World company for the right to use their peanut-eyed ghost mask in the movie, the company knew they had the upper hand and drove a hard bargain. The crew then designed their own version of the mask, different enough not to get them sued, and the company accepted the offer and the free publicity that came with it. The Ghostface mask became iconic, but the altered version still made the cut, visible in the movie's opening sequences. Dr. No, Itsy Bitsy Spider. Just because the movie's hero is a fearless badass, that doesn't mean the actor playing him had to be one too. For plenty of James Bond fans, Sean Connery will always be the best version of the suave, womanizing secret agent. But in his debut, the actor's fear of spiders became a serious hurdle. When the story planned for James to be threatened by a deadly tarantula in his bed, Connery couldn't let the spider actually crawl up his arm, so the filmmakers cheated, putting a pane of glass between them. It was easy to see the spider wasn't actually on the actor, so in the end a stuntman was used. It wasn't just Connery who had a thing about spiders though. The stuntman said it was the scariest scene he had ever filmed. Frozen, Reindeer games. Sven the reindeer may be just a supporting player in Disney's mega hit Frozen, but he's still got plenty of laughs. The animators took his character seriously, examining real reindeer in their research trip to Norway, which was the inspiration for the fictional kingdom of Arendelle. They even had a small reindeer brought into their office to capture its personality, but they soon realized it didn't really have one. In the end, they relied on Pixar legend John Lasseter's dog for inspiration, and the canine habits are easy to see in the finished film. The Godfather. It's hard to imagine the story of the Corleone family was ever going to be any different than the timeless masterpiece audiences eventually got, but the movie almost featured a pair of award-winning icons before either had proved their true talents. Before James Caan had landed the role of Sonny Corleone, the handsome son of Marlon Brando's Don, actor Robert De Niro was pursuing the part. It's a shame to think that both Pacino and De Niro could have played brothers in one of cinema's most revered dramas, but Francis Ford Coppola made it up to De Niro by casting him in the sequel as a young Vito Corleone back home in Sicily. That role would land him an Oscar, the first ever given for a role spoken mostly in a foreign language. Star Wars, Trusty Old Ford. As one of the most successful movie stars in history, Harrison Ford has become synonymous with not one, but two iconic movie franchises. But his rise to fame started with Star Wars, a role that he was never meant to even be considered for. After Ford won over George Lucas for a role in American Graffiti, the director failed to see his star potential, but the producers and casting agents around him didn't. Lucas had no intention of casting Ford as the smug smuggler Han Solo, but agreed to let him read the part in auditions for other roles since Ford was working as a carpenter at the time. After countless hours and other star actors struggling to deliver, Lucas finally realized Ford had the character all figured out. He cast the actor, and the rest is history. Die Hard with a Vengeance, McClane says. Before Bruce Willis was jumping on jet fighters or launching his car into helicopters, he was solving riddles across New York City. The third Die Hard movie ended with a memorable bang. But did you know that wasn't actually the original ending? That's right, Die Hard with a Vengeance originally had a darker, more badass ending that actually sent John McClane off into the sunset on a happy note. After tracking Hans Gruber back to Germany, John turns the tables, ambushing his enemy with riddles of his own, playing Russian roulette with a rocket launcher. McClane, who had given up drinking and smoking after almost being killed, comes out on top, and leaves the expired Gruber to spend Christmas with his family. Star Wars, What's in a Name? George Lucas tends to get all the credit for dreaming up the Empire, Rebel Alliance, and the droids of a galaxy far, far away, but some of the planets owe their names to places in our very own world. Lucas hadn't quite decided on a name for Luke Skywalker's planet when his first script was completed, since so much of the action takes place on other worlds, but in the end he decided that a name of a town in Tunisia was a perfect fit. Tatooine, or Tatooine, wasn't actually home to any of the movie's locations, but considering what an achievement it was to make it out of the desert with his film still on track, maybe the director thought the name would be a good luck charm. Harry Potter, it wasn't Butterbeer. There's incredible pressure on Hollywood movie stars, and for young actors, it's only more intense. As the star of the Harry Potter series, actor Daniel Radcliffe faced more pressure than most people could grasp, and he's admitted that he used alcohol to help him cope. The actor has since steered clear of drinking entirely and claims he never actually drank on the set of the movies. But coming into work drunk means Radcliffe can point out scenes in Harry Potter movies where he's simply dead behind the eyes. Since he refuses to say which movies are scenes, fans can only guess. Back to the Future, method acting. Marty McFly is usually prepared for anything, even if he's dropping into a brand new decade or century. But when Marty first winds up back in 1885 in Back to the Future Part 3, he needs Doc Brown to save him from a guaranteed hanging at the hands of Buford Mad Dog Tannen. As it turns out, actor Michael J. Fox needed some rescuing too. To film the scene, Fox had agreed to have a real rope tied around his neck and was shown how to keep himself safe by holding it slack. When the procedure slipped his mind during one take, the rope really did cut off his air supply. The crew and cast simply thought he'd found a way to play a strangled man even better until he passed out, at which point co-star Christopher Lloyd severed the rope with a single gunshot. We hope. Probably not though. Those are the best behind-the-scenes details that our fans supplied. But if you have more to offer, keep them coming. We couldn't hit the 1 million subscriber mark without your time, so we hope you'll subscribe if you haven't already, and join us for the next 1 million to come.